Okay, so horizontal lines and vertical lines are a little bit different than regular linear functions, so there's a few little specific quirks about them that we want to make sure that we cover. So with vertical lines, a vertical line is written in the form x equals a, where a represents the line's x-intercept. So if we look here, this line crosses the x-axis at 1, 2, 3, positive 3. So the equation for this vertical line graphed above is x equals 3. Okay, whereas a horizontal line is the flip of that. It's written in the form y equals a, where a represents the line's y-intercept. So here we cross the y-axis at 1, and so the horizontal line graphed above is written as y equals, that's the origin. We're going down to this point right here, where we're going to be y is equal to -1. Okay, so vertical lines written as x equals whatever that x-intercept is, horizontal lines written as y equals, where a represents the line's y-intercept. Okay, so here for our examples, let's go ahead and just talk through a few of these. We are going to write the equation of the line shown on the graph. So here we have a vertical line right here. Starting here at the middle, we're going to -2, so x equals -2. Okay, we're going to be looking for its x or its y-intercept, whichever one. If it crosses the x-axis, it's going to be x equals that number. If it crosses the y-axis, it's going to be y equals that number. Okay, so here on number 3, we have another horizontal line, and this horizontal line happens, we have a horizontal line which is going to cross the y-axis, so we're going to count down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so y is going to be equal to -5 in this case. Now if we look down at number 5, on number 5 we have a line that actually runs the same line as the y-axis, and so it's going to intersect the x-axis at 0. So the equation for this is x equals 0. Okay, so again, remember, if it's a vertical line, it's going to be where it crosses the x-axis, so our equation is going to be x equals that value. If it is a horizontal line, it's going to cross the y-axis, and so our equation is going to be wherever it crosses the value at which it crosses the y-axis. Okay, so you still have a couple of example problems to try here. And I am going to go ahead and flip it over, and we're going to talk about the back side as well here. Okay? Alright, so looking here at number 7, we're asked to graph these this time. So y is equal to 5. So when you get confused about these, the best thing that I can offer you to do is create 5 or 6 points. So you could do -1, 5, 0, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, and so on, and just pick 4 or 5 points where all of the y values are equal to 5, and then plot those points. Okay, and what you'll notice is it creates a horizontal line that crosses the y-axis at y equals 5. And so, hold on, it'll come back into focus. There we go. And so this is going to be a horizontal line when we go to graph it. So that's one way that you can graph these, is just plot a bunch of points that have all the same y value of y equals 5. Also, number 9, you'll notice x equals 3, so it's going to have an x-intercept of 3, so I can count over to 3, and the only way it's going to have an x-intercept is if it is a vertical line. I couldn't do a horizontal line and make that work, so I'm going to do a vertical line here at x equals 3. And then, of course, 11, y equals 4. We're going to go up to 4 on the y-axis, and we're going to draw that horizontal line. And so that is how we graph those. So if I were you, if I'm still getting confused about these, and sometimes I do too, it's a tricky thing to think through, and sometimes it takes me a little longer to process and think about it. So I just generally write out some ordered pairs, plot those points, and that helps me graph those. Okay. So remember our slope. When we have a horizontal line, it has a slope of 0. When we have a vertical line, the slope is undefined. because we're going to be dividing by 0 with that rise over run. The run value is going to be 0. And so that is something to keep in mind as we think through these questions. So number 13, what's the slope of the line y equals 4? Y equals 4 is going to be a horizontal line, and so that's going to have a slope of 0. Whereas number 15, the slope of the line x equals 0, that's going to be a vertical line, so this is going to have an undefined slope. And then which axis is x equals 4 parallel to? Well, x equals 4 is going to be a vertical line at x equals 4, and so that's going to be parallel to our y-axis because that's our vertical number line. Alright, now number 18, just take a look here real quickly. Asking the graph of y equals 3 versus y equals 3x. So it's important to know the difference between these. So y equals 3, remember we're going to have lots of points where y equals 3. So -2, 3, -4, 3, we can have 0, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, and so on. But I'm going to go ahead and plot those points. So -2, 3, -4, 3, 0, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3. And so this becomes a horizontal line. Versus y equals 3x, where if I plugged those same x and y values in, x -2 times 3 is -6. I could do -4, I get -12, I could do 0, I get 0, I could plug in 2, I get 6, I could plug in 4, and I get 12, and a lot of those points are going to be off my graph, but the ones that I can plot, I will. I have a point right down here, I have a point at 0, 0, I have a point at 2, 6, and those points line up to create this equation, or this line right here. So very different lines. And so what we'll notice here is that y equals 3 has a slope of 0 and a y-intercept of 3. And then y equals 3x has a slope of 3 and a y-intercept of 0. So opposite slope and y-intercept on these two graphs. One has a slope of 0 and a y-intercept of 3. The other has a slope of 3 and a y-intercept of 0. So just opposites in those things, and look clearly very different. So a lot of continuing practice problems here. I know this was something that several students were struggling with, was horizontal and vertical lines. So take a few minutes, go through these other questions, and then let me know if you have any additional questions about it, and I can help you with the difference between the horizontal and vertical lines.